Hey, we're actually live.
Nothing yet.
Welcome. Hi, Lynn and Gary. Can you hear me okay? I'm doing it a different way because of the audio problem. I'm trying to invite the rest of the church. So hold on one second. Here we go, number 2.
We're good.
And then here we go, number 3. Oops. Let's see. And here we go, number 4. And here we go, number 5. The church is invited. Please join us. Good evening, everyone, says Lynn. Can you hear me, Lynn? We're using a different audio system. Hi, Lula, come on in, have a seat. So I want to know in the chat if you can hear me.
I heard you fine.
Okay, we had a sound check. All right, well, I got to, again, thank Pastor Paul. All right, Lynn says yes. Again, I got to thank Pastor Paul for filling in today. This was a planned, not a COVID thing, but actually a planned trip. I did a worship service over in Muskegon for the barbershop community in Michigan. It was fun, and we had a good time. And I'm glad they keep asking me. If they keep asking me to preach, I guess I'll keep preaching. I think that's great. And then we've added a couple pastors. So we have fill-ins when I'm gone. And Pastor Paul, thank you very much, sir, for the work you did. I know we were talking about it during the week and you were busy studying most of the time, but it did come together. You gave a message. I was able to listen while I was coming back. So that was good. And I want Paul to come up today and just do a little recap of this morning. And then the two of us will interact and we'll open it up for questions. Because I want to be a little more specific. I think Paul said something very profound this morning that needs to be expanded on tonight. So the question really is, are we doing what it is the Lord would want us to be doing as a church to reach out with the gospel? And I'm hoping the answer is yes, but as Paul said, maybe not. And that's the part where we need to have sensitive hearts, because there may be some things we need to step up and do that we just haven't realized we need to step up and do it. I'm going to talk personally for a moment before I invite Pastor Paul. This is the time of year when the church considers the funds and the budget and moving forward, what can we do for the Lord? Very important time. Hi, Barb, it's good to see you. Very important time in the life of the church. We do it every year because we got to move forward for the Lord. This is not about me. I will tell you right up front, I have no idea who gives what in this church, and I don't want to know. Hey, Gary. I'm talking to the, okay. So I don't know who gives in this church and how much. I'm assuming everybody's given what they can. It's not enough. The responsibility of each member of the church, each regular attender of the church, each person in leadership is to do, while we're here on earth, what it is the Lord wants us to do. And the things that we need to do actually do require money in the real world. And so it's not personal, but it is a challenge and a responsibility I would put on the whole church, myself included, that we need to step up our giving. I'm sure there's people in the church who could give more. Probably everyone can give more. And I don't need to know who you are. I know people don't like it when we talk about giving, but it's actually a biblical thing. We're supposed to take up collections so that we can do our ministry for the Lord. And it does to have a ministry does require a building. It requires things that need to be paid for. So anybody who's loyal to Jesus needs to figure out how to better serve in the area of giving. I don't care how poor you are, how rich you are. There was a widow that Jesus commended for giving 2 pennies, right? Obviously, she had enough to live on because she was alive. And what did she have in terms of how she could increase her lifestyle? 2 pennies. She threw them in gladly because she loved the Lord. A lot of the rich people toot their horn and say, look at me, I'm giving to the poor, and they throw in a large amount of money. Jesus says she did more. Not because of how much she put in, but because how faithful she was willing to live and depend on the Lord on the day-to-day. See, we don't have enough faith. If we're not given as much as the Lord would want us to give, it's because we don't trust him to take care of us. And that's just the plain fact. And I know there are people that don't like me talking about this, but that's the situation. I'm telling you the truth because Jesus wants me to. And you all know it's the truth. And you all can do better. I can do better. So let's make it a pledge this fund drive season so that we can continue on another year to step it up for the Lord. And that's kind of a play on words, step it up. We're going to talk tonight about how you can step up to the plate. It's not about giving. I've already given you that spiel, right? What it is about what specifically can you do to be involved in what Paul was talking about this morning. So, Brother Paul, would you come and give us a recap?
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, just a quick recap here, but not super quick. I know this morning I had to be kind of quick because of the meeting, and it was a event that we needed to do and get it out of the way and get it done. Hey, everybody in there. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Barb. Hi, anybody that's not saying hi, I say hello to you. Also to our online community, when you find us and you watch us, we also have links inside the description that you can actually give to Scout Lake Baptist Church, one-time gifts, or you can also do a monthly gift as well too. We may not know who you are, but if you ever wanted to call us, we're always open for business. We'd be glad to talk with you, help you, and get you on the way. This morning we talked in John chapter 4. We talked about the woman at the well, and the woman at the well, Jesus was at the well, and she knew exactly. He knew exactly that she was there. And I was stating that Jesus went there so that way she could get to know him, because he already knew her. He knew everything about her. But see, the thing is if we don't know somebody, we don't have the ability to get to know them. So we have to have ways to be able to get to know somebody. Lula and Gary, we got to know them a little bit when me and Pastor John and Lynn went over to their house to help them move some stuff around and help them move stuff here and move stuff there. It was nice to be able to say, hey, we are here to help. But the thing is we have to be able to get to know people. And so Jesus went to the well so that the way the lady at the well could get to know him, because he had to spend time with her, because if he didn't spend any time with her, all she would be able to know is hear about him and not know about him. Hearing about somebody and knowing about somebody is two different, absolute different things. Because I can know about President Biden. I can know about former President Bush. I can know about all these different other people. They don't know about me. They don't know who I am. They might know about me. I might know who about them, but I don't know them. And so Jesus wanted to make sure the lady at the well knew who he was. So he spent time and put effort into her life. Just real quick on the recap. Let's do this. The woman at the well said to him, I know that the Messiah is coming, who's called the Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all things. And Jesus says to her, I who speak to you am he. Just then, oh, hey, April. Just then, it was so funny. Just then, and April pops out. Just then, Jesus' disciples came back, and they marveled that he was talking with a woman, but no one said to Jesus, what do you seek? Or what are you talking with her for? So the woman left her water jar and went into town and said to the people, come see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? They went out of the town and were coming to him. You know, I was thinking something too. And I mean, this is just my thought thinking. So don't take this as like, but the lady left her water pot. We could think of it as two things. One, she was in such astounding that she just ran to go tell everybody, which she might have done that. She might have just like, oh my gosh, and left the water pot there. Or she still might have just ran, oh my gosh, this is the Christ. And she left the water pot there so he could drink something, because he did, after all, give her something to drink. So maybe she made a huge difference that the lady at the well wanted to help Jesus. Then she ran back to her town. Come see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? Well, we know that it is. They went out of the town. The people went out of the town. The Samaritans went out of the town and were coming to him. And the disciples were urging him, saying, Rabbi, eat. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you do not know about. So the disciples said to one another, has anyone brought him something to eat? Jesus said to them, my food is to do the will of him who sent me, to accomplish his work. Now, this morning I asked, whose work are we accomplishing? And I wanted us to ponder that for a second. And I wanted us to think, okay, are we doing our work, our will, our ability to do something, or are we doing God's work? And I guess the question is what is God's work? Pastor John?
Throw that out. Let's throw that out to the people. What is God's work as something different than our work? Sometimes churches are about our work because they want to build up numbers, or they have goals that they want to build buildings or whatever. How do you know that that's God's work, or is that just what people think that they would want to do?
I know a couple of weeks ago, Pastor John, I said, busy work. I hate busy work. I'm saying sometimes the goals that churches have is just a bunch of busy work. And they have some churches have we got this, we got this visitor, we got these people do commitments. They have goals, and I'm saying that may not be the exact case.
The question is, and I would ask Lula because she's got her hand up.
Yeah.
When you're trying to decide to do something, maybe it's I want to get involved in this or that, or maybe it's I want to buy this or that, or go here or go there. How do you know if it's God saying, this is what I want you to do, versus, hey, this is what I want to do? How do you make that distinction?
I don't know about that, but I think my opinion is God wants you to get out and witness and get people to come to the church. And you need to reach out. Like my grandson he's in the psych ward at St. Joe. I asked Pastor Paul, and I also asked Pastor Brian, will they please go and see him? And
St. Joe Psych Ward, are we allowed?
Yeah, I went up there.
Okay, because I've been turned away from the psych ward before.
Because I'm afraid Chris will say, Grandma, take me home, or, But I think it's witnessing to people. I think it's reaching out.
Okay. So
Barb agrees with you, by the way, in the chat. God says God's work seeking and saving the lost. So Barb agrees with what you're saying there.
Here's where you're exactly right, and Barb is exactly right. What God is doing is seeking and saving the lost. So
But we're supposed to reach.
We're
supposed to reach out.
Right, and we're his body, right? So we could say, God, sorry, you can't use your body because I've got other things I want to do. And it doesn't involve what you want me to do, right? We are his body. We have been added in to the body of Christ, and we are the ones that are reaching people. It's our hands that minister to people, like we talked about last week. It's our feet that take us to the people that need the help, and it's our eyes that are seeking out the people. But it's the Lord that's doing it through us. So we could take our eyes in a different direction. We could let our feet go somewhere else, and our hands could just be building up our own funds and our own resources. So really, who is it for? Who are we serving? Most of us, to some degree, serve ourselves. I don't know too many people that just are all out serving, like that widow with the 2 mites. She wanted to take care of the Lord's people who were poor and couldn't take care of themselves. And all she had to use was 2 pennies because she had to stay alive too. So she was living, and she threw in all of her excess money. And a lot of the rich people threw in some of their excess money, but they still used it all for them. And so I guess it's a challenge for every Christian.
And remember, right here it says, Jesus says, "Lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest." So Jesus is also telling us to open our eyes and look. Just as her grandson's in the psych ward. My mom is also in the rehab center, so I went and visited her, and I talked to a bunch of people there too.
We got a couple other people in the hospital we're going to need to be visiting soon,
and we have a lot of harvests all over around us.
So we're talking about, like Jesus at the well.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about personal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. The personal relationship that any one of us has with God is a saving relationship. It's what actually saves our soul, is to know Jesus personally. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, just for anybody that may not know this, if you come across this video, that really does come down to recognizing the fact that we are sinners who need salvation. Mm-hmm. The bad things we've done will not be forgiven. We will be paying the penalty of that forever unless we have a relationship established with Jesus who forgives us. And Jesus died on a cross to pay the penalty to keep the justice of the universe where it needs to be, that evil is punished and good is rewarded. Well, all of us being evil, we got to get it into our minds that we're born in sin. We're dead in sin. We are evil by our heart's condition, the way we're born, sinful. We take care of ourselves first. That's sin. We decide in our life we want to build this, or we want to go there and do these things because we want to. That's sin. Just doing what you want to do with your life is sin. Why? You are not your own.
Not in the will.
You're bought with a price, right? So God doesn't want to force you into that sacrificial lifestyle of serving Jesus, donating your life to him, but he invites you. And when he invites you, he saves you. When you come to know him, he saves you. And now, as a child of God, you're within God's community. You are given the freedom to make your choices. Now, I'm calling upon the Christians who have been given a great gift, eternal life with God forever. Use your life for him. Use your life for him. Now, we got to talk specifically about it. Lula, you mentioned a word I love. Witnessing. What do you think witnessing is? What's your idea of what it means to witness?
Well, most of the time I invite people to church. I don't.
Yep, that's a good part of it.
Talking about Jesus.
Okay.
Like maybe Barb Messick does or something. But I just try, like it, when we had those pamphlets for Easter one year, I was handing them out left and right at the Dollar Tree.
Okay, so you're doing some to let the world around you know that there is a place where you can come to know God.
But I used to get upset when I invite people and I think they talk like, "Oh, I'm going to come," and then they didn't. And I'm thinking, I shouldn't be upset because it's up to God. He's the one that's going to save me.
Good point, Lula. Yeah, have you ever driven on the ice in the wintertime? Do you ever get into a situation where your car won't go forward, but your wheels are turning?
No, I I was in.
That's a bad thing.
No, in 70, I turned completely around.
You did it
God was with me.
right in the middle of the
I was on
road.
black guys.
Everybody that's driven a car in Michigan in the winter has probably encountered the problem of your tires not having the traction.
My daughter went over.
Right.
Almost like into a little
But here, listen to my analogy. Your wheels are spinning, the motor is pumping, you're putting your foot on the gas, but you're not going anywhere. So witnessing the way you just described it is like that, right? You're not getting anywhere. You're trying,
Putting good effort into it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the start, is you commit yourself into the work that God has. You donate your life to him, and then you become his ambassador to people. Now, you can do a few things like invite a stranger to church. They probably will say no, because who are you? I don't know you, right? And so it's like spinning your wheels.
So many have said yes.
Yeah, and have they come?
Don't show
Right. And sometimes people say yes,
Yeah.
whatever you're selling me, okay. And then
They're telling you yes, so you'll go away.
you'll go away.
Yep.
Right. So it's spinning wheels. So it's good to want to. Now we need to talk about how to, right? How to not spin the wheels, but actually get the forward momentum. Now that's kind of what Paul and I have been discussing lately. We want the church to be what Jesus said we are, my witnesses to the uttermost part of the earth.
But how do we get there is the question.
Right. So every individual has been given whatever is needed to be a part of moving that car forward, not spinning the wheels. We can all spin the wheels. When we're off doing our own thing, and we might be doing something good, we might think that it's going to help somebody, but if it doesn't get them into a relationship with Jesus that saves their soul, it's called spinning our wheels, right? We're not getting anywhere. So what I really want to turn the discussion toward, and thank you for setting that up, what I really want to turn the discussion toward is the specifics of how. How can we get the people that we love to really come to know Jesus and become a part of his community, his kingdom, his church? Yeah.
Well, where Gary goes to church, Brother Pat comes every Saturday, usually faithfully, and talks to us. And then I tell him what prayers I would like him to pray, for my family, that he prays for it. I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
I think we should, at my former church, we went out and talked to people to come to church.
Yep. So canvassing, and you gave an example of a man who runs a bus route for another church, and he's so personable. Right. He's a man.
He's a sociopath.
Right. He's a man, and he runs a bus route for the church, and he's sociable. He's warm and friendly. Why? People. Right.
He's reaching out for God.
Yep. People. That is a great example. Being kind, putting on that
Care.
Jesus-like persona. Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost, right? He came to give his life a ransom for many. And a lot of times Christians, we may want to, but we spin our wheels. Or we may just think, I don't need to be involved that way, because what's it going to do for me? But think about how selfish that is. Jesus gives you a salvation that is eternal friendship, an eternal family relationship with him that is in glory forever. And what are we giving him in the little 70, 80 years of our life? We should give him ourselves so that he can get his work on earth done.
I also mentioned this morning too about the people having teaming up with each other too, because you know how Jesus said that two people should go out and just not one. So like maybe to have two people working together to go out, instead of just because, you might get discouraged if nobody ever shows up to church.
That's a good principle to think about. Individual effort, or here's the point. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to be out there and just do it. Individual effort or teamwork, right? So that's getting a lot closer to what I think we really need to understand.
And I think,
Go ahead.
I think by this man praying with us, other people around are seeing what he's doing, so it's a witness. Even to that man across the street that I tried.
So you're living well is a witness, but it's also spinning wheels, right? People, I mean, do you want your neighbor to think you're living well, you're doing good? What does that do for his soul?
Doesn't do much.
It's spinning wheels, right? They're yeah, unless it really does get people to know Jesus and give their life to Jesus.
Well, let's put it this way: he could be drinking, or he could be, what do you call it?
Well, whether you are a drinker or not a drinker has absolutely nothing to do with eternity.
Yeah, but it's not me. It's the person that's across the street.
Yeah, but he's a person that you live the life of a Christian in front of, but is he coming? Does he know Jesus?
I don't know
What we want to do, what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out how can we do it better so that we can actually help other people's lives get changed for the good.
But some people,
Here, let me
Some people, no matter what we do, we're spinning our wheels. That's what we're.
let me mention.
But the thing is, I don't think he wants to try.
It-
He don't want to try.
That's up to God.
yeah.
Him and God are going to have a conversation about how that is.
Some are-
Right.
he said-
Now you live across the street from him.
Right. that's right.
So what can you do to make it more likely that he will want Jesus in his life?
Or even possible, maybe not likely, but possible.
Well, I thought about maybe at Christmas time, I'll give him a religious Christmas card. And let's let him know.
It's something. It's
You know,
something.
maybe too, Lula, you can give them a religious Christmas card with some
So when I
fudge.
started to go across the street to talk to him about something, he said, no, don't come over here.
Let's assume he's
Fudge though, or
Let's-
chocolate kind of
let's
helps.
assume he's a grouchy guy
Yeah.
and he just doesn't like you because you shine Jesus light. Okay. If you are kind to him and reach out to him and really care to know him, something.
He doesn't.
Nope.
He don't want us to reach out.
Yep. But
But there might be a time though in his life.
what we're trying to
that
do is get you to stop spinning your wheels.
he's got nowhere else to go to but you.
Well, he almost got it, and he still didn't turn to God.
Okay. That's between him and God.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to make their own choice. Our job is to help people make the choice that was good for them, not for us, for them. And so what I'm saying is, if you reach out to him the way Jesus would, there's a little more information that he's going to receive about how, I mean, he might think, oh yeah, she talks a good game, but what does she ever do for me? Now he can't do that. If you give him the fudge and a Christmas card and say, you know what, I'm glad you're my neighbor. You know, I want you to enjoy this fudge. And if he might slam the door in your face. That's his choice.
Oh, I can't go up on his porch. He don't want me over there.
I know. But just listen to my point. Listen to my point. Okay. It doesn't have to be fudge. It doesn't have to be going on his porch. It doesn't have to be anything. I'm saying find something where you can actually display God's love for him. That way he can't say, oh, she's a good talker. She talks about Jesus, but you know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out how not to spin the wheels.
You know, Gary also had a really good point too about a danger to society. You know, the maniac of Gadara, he was also the guy that Jesus kicked out the demons out of.
Mhm.
He was also a danger of society too. So I mean,
Mhm.
you know, Jesus can
Okay.
change no matter what.
Now we need to turn the conversation. Oh, I think our work is to trust and obey. That's Barb. God's work, seeking and
that
saving
was-
the lost. Yep.
yeah, that was-
So
that was Greenawalt.
here's what God has done for us to be able to do this kind of work, not spinning our wheels. Okay. God had a plan. This plan was established even before he created the world, right? He wanted people to know him because it's good for the people to know him. He created the world. He gave them a choice. They went the wrong way, and fell into sin. Now the problem is God has to punish sin because he's good and we're bad. So what's he going to do? He loves us. He sent his one and only son to die on a cross for our sins, to pay that price so that we could accept it, not by works, but by believing we accept it. Then he adds us into a community on earth where we are ambassadors. Okay? So here's what it means. It's teamwork, right? It really is teamwork. Scully Baptist Church, if you're watching, it's teamwork. It means we are not individuals first, right? It's okay that you are an individual and you have your preferences and you have your gifts and your available time and all of that stuff. You got a lot to do in life. That is totally understandable. However, you belong to God. And if you don't want to waste your life, if you don't want the wheels to spin and you're not getting anywhere helping the Lord's work go forward, it's teamwork. The program that Jesus established on earth to reach the lost, to seek and to save the lost while he's in heaven and we're his body on earth, it's called church. Church, that's you. You are not an individual, you are church. Now, you are an individual, you have your individual choice and freedom. Nobody can make that choice for you.
And there will be times in your life too, Pastor John, that you're by yourself, even though you may have somebody who's going to be teaming up with you or helping you or whatever it is. There may be circumstances
You can only make your you can only make. That's okay, Gary. I know. Just listen. You can only make your choices. But what God has done is he's given each of us gifts. Some of us are good at one thing, some of us are good at another thing, and he gave us each other to be a community to pool all of our gifts together and do the kind of work that he wants us to do. He wants us to be a church that functions like a church to reach out to the lost.
Whoever they are.
Yeah.
Not just one individual, whoever they are.
And we don't know the people that God has in mind out there to be special saints won to Christ to join our church and add to our community. But he knows who they are. We don't necessarily know who he has in mind to do that. So what can we do to get ourselves out there and our church out there? Because I'll just say this. The command Jesus gave is go. It's not wait here and let them come.
Right.
And a lot of times churches think, oh, well, we'll do this program or that program and that'll bring in the people. No. We go out to the people. You have neighbors. You have people you work with. You might even have family members that don't know the Lord. You got relationships. Those relationships are going to be used to bring the light to people that they need to see Jesus. But now, what can we do as a church to function as the body of Christ? Well, there's one idea the Lord settled into my heart during Vacation Bible School this year. And that is have a musical celebration on November 11th to honor our veterans. Okay? Now, I can put it on Facebook. I can tell my singing buddies, hey, we're doing this. You got some people at work. You can talk to them, whatever. That may not do what needs to be done to fill this place up with people that want to say thank you to our veterans.
We could even use a sign out front and say,
we got a lot of things we can do.
Yeah.
The problem is we need the church to do that.
And get involved.
Not individuals just doing this, that, and the other. We need an organized approach to doing the ministry that God is calling us to do. And we don't have that. We have some wonderful saints in this church that just devote their time incredibly well to getting things done here at the building, right? And that's important, but it's not the Lord's work. It's an aspect that we can use to maybe help the Lord's work along. But what is the Lord's work? People, reaching people, and not reaching them.
Reaching over other people.
Correct. Reaching people and not as individuals, but as a coordinated effort of the church.
As I said this morning, some people may go this way to get some folks, some people may go this way, and some people may go this way, and some people may go behind us. But it's like, when the Apostle Paul said to the Cephas, John, they said, we're going to go to the circumcised and we're going to go to the uncircumcised.
Yep, God
they had a plan.
God, yeah,
and we need to have a plan
and
too.
God, well, so the plan that they had was God chose these two to go
That
one
way.
direction
Yep.
and these two to go that direction. So what we need to do is plug into God's plan for our church. The fact that we're a local church means God has a plan,
Right.
right? And part of the plan is to have a church here in just a minute, have a church here in Waterford as God's plan. Okay. Now, we could just say, okay, well, we're just a bunch of individuals and we'll just go do our thing and invite people to church and talk about Jesus with our neighbors and leave it at that. We're spinning our wheels. We're spinning our wheels. But we want to stop spinning the wheels and actually get the car moving forward. So, teamwork. It really does come down to, how can my gifts help in this project? And you know what? Maybe you are given a project. And it could be something like a chili supper. We're going to try and have one of those in January.
I know my kids are, my daughter and my wife.
I know they're
going
going to try and beat me again. I get it, but they're not going to be able to, of course.
I know hey, there might be somebody else out there watching us that want to take you on.
Right.
I don't know.
The point is,
I hear his chili isn't that good, but
oh,
hey,
yeah, we'll see. The point is teamwork. Now, let's say you come up with an idea.
maybe it's a great idea. Too.
Yep. What we need to do is we need to get a team around that idea and pull it off.
It's like the idea that I had.
Because
too.
Lula, tell you what. Give me one idea. Something about you reaching your neighborhood. Just an idea.
I don't know, but what I'm trying to say,
Yep. Give me one idea.
Well, what are you trying to say? Maybe that's
No. One idea. How can we reach the people in your neighborhood? I'll give you a hint. Door knocking.
yeah.
Okay, Lula, thank you for that one idea.
That's another thing.
Okay, oh. Listen, just wait a minute. You take the door knocking idea. Just listen to me. If God gives you the idea, I want to canvass my neighborhood. You can go off and do that.
Yeah.
How is that going to help? But
maybe
teamwork. Well, how do we help you with that idea? Teamwork.
But the problem is, Pastor, a lot of people in church have been sick.
True.
How do you have a teamwork? I had to go and have ultrasound.
Yep. We can come up with a million excuses to say, oh, I don't want to be a part of Lula's team to reach her neighborhood. We could do that. It wouldn't be right. That's not God's work getting done. That's our work getting done.
Lake Crest, they have the young women go out 2 by 2.
Sure.
They come down.
Their idea is canvassing. And that's a good idea. I haven't. Yeah,
It is.
You're right. You're right. I haven't got that idea. I got the idea for the musical celebration for our veterans. I want your idea. I want your idea. I want your idea. But what I want is God's idea to filter into the team. I know, just listen. I want God's idea for what we do to filter into the team of servants at Scott Lake Baptist Church. Let me finish. Very important. I want God's idea to get through to us so that we're getting on those projects, all of us as a team, making it happen big. Let me share just a little story.
Well, here's another idea too.
Nope,
before you
nope,
say the story.
nope.
Okay. Well, I'm just
Okay,
going to add
I
to
know,
what you're saying.
I know, but I want to give you a specific example.
All right.
A church nearby. A friend of mine is the pastor there. They pulled off a benefit breakfast that had over 2,000 people.
It's a lot of people.
Yep. How did they do that? The idea sunk in to the church, and the church came together as a team and pulled it off. We could do that too. Teamwork. That's exactly what we need, is teamwork. So Lula, your idea, and it could be door knocking. You might go home tonight, and in the middle of the night, you wake up and go, cha-ching, I got an idea. I think this is a godly idea. Let's do X, Y, Z. What I want you to do is say, Pastor, you're calling me on the phone. Pastor, the Lord hit me with an idea last night. Do you want to hear it? And I'll go, oh, I suppose. No, I'm saying, yes, of course. I want to hear it. You're going to tell me your idea. I'm going to say, Brother Paul, Lula's got this great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what Paul's going to say?
What is it?
What can we do? No, I'm going to tell you the idea. And then you're going to say, oh, wow, I love that idea.
That's a great idea.
Exactly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get with you and we're going to announce it to the church. So we need these people to do these things. Help us out. This is a great idea. The teamwork, as any individuals are donating themselves to the work of God rather than their own work, those wheels aren't going to be spinning.
And as well, Pastor, too, we also have to make sure we plan what it is so that way we're not.
That's a
spinning our
part.
wheels,
Okay.
too.
So Lula comes up with the idea in the middle of the night. Cha-ching, I got the idea. She tells me about it. I think, wow. I tell you about it. We need planners.
Mhm.
We need people that can promote it. We probably will need some
Flyers?
Yeah,
Maybe.
promotional materials. We'll need things that will actually make this a great event. Can I do everything to make something a great event?
Nope.
Spinning my wheels.
Mhm.
Spinning my wheels. That's all I'm doing.
What about the
Teamwork.
flyers for handing out with the candy? Why can't we have flyers for that?
Did you hear that cha-ching idea?
I just heard the cha-ching idea.
Okay.
Was that what she was trying to tell us the whole time?
She's telling us, God just spoke to her in her heart. She said, you know what? We could get some tracts and hand it out with the candy on Halloween night.
Right.
Who in the church wants to come up with those materials so that we can get them to our people to hand out to kids on
Halloween
trick or
night.
treat night? Thank you, Lula. You're showing me exactly it. But can you do it all by yourself? No. Can I?
Nope.
No.
can do it.
No, God.
No. How God does it through the teamwork of His people.
Yeah, but God can do to help people to help themselves too.
Yeah, but that's not quite what we're talking about because we want to get them to know Him personally. Remember, that's the personal salvation.
Well, that's why I wanted to read that I showed you.
Did you read it this morning when I was gone?
didn't get to.
Okay.
This-
I think we'll incorporate it next week. We have just an announcement. We have a special Sunday morning planned for next week. We're going to have a missionary come and speak for a little bit. We're going to take Brother Paul and Brother Brian, and they're going to present a challenge in their realm of outreach. And then we're going to collect all of our money for the Christmas bonuses that we've been wanting to give to our missionaries. And then we're going to go and enjoy a feast, a turkey dinner, right? Right. That's what we're going to do next week. I think the reading that you want would fit really well. Because what it does is it gets at the attitude that we need to have about people,
No.
right?
Pastor
Let's not just say, ooh, those people, we don't want them, right?
Right.
So you're on. Be ready.
Now, I have an idea
Cool.
too, Pastor John. Now, Lula has a great idea, right?
Yep.
Now, what happens if Gary also has a great idea? And
Well-
they both have great ideas.
Okay.
So what do we do in that?
I got a great idea the other day. I changed somebody else's tire. They gave me $25.
That's a great idea. But what
are you tithing that 25 to the church?
No,
Ah.
I did.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's
But-
another topic.
That's for every day. But,
All right.
but
All right.
what do we do though then if we have two great ideas? I mean, but one's not over the other. They're
How-
both great ideas.
In
How do we
other
know
words,
what to
Paul's
do?
asking is,
Do we have two teams? Do we?
we have one team and it's called
Right, it's true.
we have one team and it's called Scout Lake Baptist Church. Some people are idea makers, some people are event planners, and some people pull it off.
Mhm.
It all works based on where your gifts are. So Paul says, what if Lula and Gary both have an
Great
idea?
idea, right.
Well, now we're in a situation where we've got two good ideas. We want to assess which one is the Lord leading us to do, because you can't really do both well.
Right.
Now you can do more than one thing at a time, of course.
Right.
Right.
What happens if like the disciples, one went A and one went B? Would we have two different teams, or should we all focus on one? I mean, because we can look at it
What we
that
need
way
to
too.
what we need to do is we need to get the whole church
Mhm.
behind what we're doing. Otherwise, we're spinning our wheels,
Mhm.
right? So if Lula and Gary both have ideas, we'll probably say, boy, that one Lula had works for October 31st.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's get on that one now, because we only got a little while.
And do the other one
And
later.
then maybe Gary's idea will fit in better in the spring or the summer, right?
Right.
It could be the cowboy hat wearing day.
So
I'm just
so
saying.
so
we
what
could
that,
do that.
what
Cowboy
that
hat
is-
wearing day.
what that is leadership decisions for planning. Now the church is all the people. The work is done by the church. Okay? The church appoints its leadership, and they have to trust its leadership. If they don't trust the leadership, they'll just say, oh, there he goes again doing his thing. I'm not going to get involved. That's not teamwork. And that's why the wheels spin rather than car drive down the road. They're just spinning on the ice. So the whole church needs to get enthused about the goal.
Now, what are we going to do, Pastor, when like somebody says, "Oh, well, 97% of them are all on board with this, but there's that 3% that are like, I'm not doing it." So
I
what are we gonna do?
would say, however big a percentage or small a percentage we get on board, the willing saints will do their best.
Mhm.
If someone says, I'm opting out, that's a selfish decision
Mhm.
that they're allowed to make because we don't make their decisions for them. But then guess what? They miss out on the blessing.
They do, because remember how Jesus said in earlier in John chapter 4, he says, and I'm going to quote, Jesus said to them, for here the saying holds true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap for what you did not labor. Others have labored and you have entered into their labor. So Lula's great idea is they jumped into the labor and the great idea of Lula, and then they're going to jump into the great idea of Western Wear Sunday because of Gary back there. Because we all have to wear our fancy hats.
We could have cowboy days.
I know. So I mean, it's those things, but Jesus is saying right there about sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping is a lot of work, and
It takes a lot of time.
It does.
You don't see the results until the end of the season. Right?
You don't. And the thing is I put on here tag teams, and so a lot of times we have to
What do you mean by tag teams?
tag team. There's like two people, at least two people in a team. So if going out 2 by 2, yeah.
No. What we're talking about as a team.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying but I just had it here as I was explaining earlier today about
two are appointed to go to a certain place by
Right.
Jesus, right?
That's what I was
So
saying
they go together because they can't do it alone.
right.
What we're talking about
Right,
is
it's the church
the individuals of this church
getting behind
all
the idea.
getting behind the idea, and everyone participating.
And hopefully we get at least 97% of the people with us. And those,
I would like.
Yeah.
I think
I would love 100.
100% of the people being enthused about what we're doing to save souls, to help God save souls, I should say. 100% of the people would be adequate. Anything less than that, we could do better. Yes.
But what about the people that aren't even coming to the church? There's several people in this church.
I would love to
that
see
are not
everybody come and get on board
So
with
how are you
everything.
gonna get all the people in the church if they're not coming?
Everybody makes their own decision. Even coming to church is a decision that you can't make for somebody else.
I know that.
Right?
But I mean, if you're wanting all the
I'm
church-
wanting everybody in the church to share in the blessing.
I can name several that are not coming.
Yeah. Oh, of course. and I'm sure that's true in a lot of places. And some people may have gone out from us because they're really not of us. They may not be saved, and they.
No, I mean, these are people that have.
Lula, you don't know what
We don't
someone's
know
heart
what a person's
is.
heart is. Only
Right.
God does.
Remember last week I said, test yourselves to make sure you're in the faith. Some people will come on that day and Jesus will say, depart from me.
I never knew.
Right. So we don't know. I can't make a decision for people, and I'm not going to make a judgment about someone's heart. Right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it out there what their duty is. And if their duty is get involved according to your gifts in the work of the church, so that the church will function the way God wants it to get the results that God wants.
Well, you know, when I first started here, and you had some people that used to come here, I forget what her name, like Bruce Wilson and different ones, but they put on a play.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't name people on a.
Well, it stuck with me, the plays and stuff.
Yeah, that was a
They
great
had
thing.
plays, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a ministry of someone in that. It wasn't that family. It was a different family. A young person thought, why don't we put this on? And guess what? We had teamwork and we put it on. Right.
Sometimes God.
That's a
moves-
great example.
Sometimes God moves people to different places.
Yeah, and people sometimes have a half commitment, you know, and they come as if they like what they're hearing or they like how the people are treating them, then they'll say, okay, I'll stay. But listen to my whole idea, right? People half committed, they'll be there as long as it suits them. Something changes, someone disrespects them,
Yep.
or whatever, they don't deal with it well. They don't deal with it well. And they say, well, I'm out of here. I'll go somewhere else. And that does happen because people make their own choices. This is part of the reason. This is part of the reason that
That's what the problem is.
this
with
is-
the churches.
Lula, that's not really what the problem is with the churches. I don't care if the people want to go and not come. I will just let them go because they are seeking their thing in the world that they want. The ones who really want to do what the Bible teaches, that really want to be a part of God's program for reaching the world, which is the church, those people need to rally around what the church is supposed to be doing. Now, if someone opts out, it's on them.
Right. We can't be responsible for other people. We can only be responsible for ourselves.
And it
what
is
we're
true,
doing.
Lula. We're all selfish.
I'm not trying to be mean, but why doesn't your wife come here?
My wife goes elsewhere,
Yeah, she likes it elsewhere.
But that's what I'm saying.
but that's not.
Yeah, but let's not talk about individuals.
That's not her call. I'll finish the saying. So her call is somewhere else.
She
and
has
they
a
have
ministry, yeah.
and as well too. The children go there. They're there right now,
Well, that's
actually.
like my husband, he goes to a different church.
Yeah,
So
and the nature of the church is a worldwide community that has various local centers, right? Or local nodes or hubs or whatever you want to call it. So every church has its particular culture, its particular focus. Every church needs to be fully on board with Jesus, but not every church is going to do it the same way. Because churches have
and some churches aren't on board with Jesus either. So we got
some are not on board with
Right.
Jesus, but they
Gotta be
should
careful.
be.
right.
So our church is on board with Jesus the way we understand it. You know, there might be a different denomination that does things a little differently, and that may be a Christian's preference to go to that type of church. Some churches are very liturgical. That means they have a very structure and that calendar, and they go through their ritual every Sunday. And that comforts some people that are Christians, and they like that liturgical church. Some churches are free, right? They don't even keep a membership. They got like a revolving door in the back, and come on in and see the show and cycle on out when you're done and get the encouragement while you're here. Here's some things to get plugged into if you want a small group. A lot of churches work that way that are big. That's not my cup of tea, right? I would prefer a church. I would like to see a church be about 200. Why 200 people? Well, you can know everybody. You can miss them when they're gone. It's not too big where it's really hard to know everybody, and but then it's not too small either, because if you've got 200 people pitching in, you can do a lot more than what you can with 40 or 50 pitching in.
We
right?
can also look at too, Pastor John, about what the other churches around us are doing and what they're trying to. Some churches won't even talk to us because they're all about themselves and whatever it is. Because they'll be like, oh, well, we'll talk to this church far away. We're talking to
Yeah.
that church far away.
I don't
But
really,
some churches.
I don't really care though.
Well, no, here was my point. I'm saying this for a reason. So like if we can see certain churches are focusing here and focusing there and they're doing this and doing that, we can focus somewhere else and try to reach out there.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
Yeah, that's a great point. I
Right.
thought you were going the other direction.
No.
We can see what they're doing that works and we can try it too. But what works isn't what's right? What works is the pragmatic approach. More bottoms in the pews and more dollars in the bank isn't the goal. What we really want is people to love God and to be a part of a loving community that is working with God to do God's work in the world.
Now, this morning too, we talked about, I think it was in Luke or something. I think I have it here about where's it at? I put in, we need to get ourselves together as a team. That's not what I was looking for. The verse, where did it go? It's like it disappeared on. I know, but however, it's right here. It says, go out quickly. The master tells the people to go out quickly to the streets and the lanes of the city and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. And the servant says, I've commanded and all was done. And then he says, go force people to come in. And we can't necessarily force people to come in, as we're saying, but because we don't have like armed guards or whatever it is.
Get to church.
Yeah, get to church. Yeah, that's not going to work. I mean, that might work in certain parts of the world for certain religions, but that's not going to work for us. No, but however, we looking at this and we're saying, okay, well, we have to focus on, maybe it's not always the cool people or whatever it is, like all these other churches are going for. Maybe we need to go find the people that they left out on because maybe they're too much drama or too much trouble.
I don't think we should exclude the millionaires. No. I mean, if they want to come here, great.
Yeah, if you want to come, we have no problem with that whatsoever. We'll be very kind to you.
I don't have a target audience.
But not any extra kind you than anybody else because you're not important.
I don't have a target audience.
Right.
And honestly, the most recent additions to our church are people that are just on the verge of poverty.
Yeah.
And that we love to be able to minister and help them. And they love being here because they feel a part of it. And
we're also glad too of those visitors that we had today from that were sitting back there, and then Karen Kay's 2 new friends that were coming. We like them as well. So
and that's what we want.
But you know what? How they did it is they invited the people, and eventually, they came.
And I'll give Karen as the example. She's a people person, whether you agree with me or not. She is a people person. She remembers birthdays. She knows about people. She follows up with them.
You have to be. We have to be fair, though. She was a teacher.
So basically, what she's doing is she's creating relationships in her life that she can use to connect people with Jesus. And now we got a couple of them coming to church. I think that's awesome.
And the 3 that came that were from where Barb is from too. That was also nice as well.
Yeah.
So,
Barb and I almost talk every week about how to reach out and get people like where she lives. If we could even have a shuttle bus come and get them,
right.
Or she could be the shuttle bus. I mean,
right.
I just think it's a great and exciting time to be a Christian.
Right.
Today.
It's too bad that we don't. Everybody. It's too bad that we don't have that Star Trek technology that people could just beam into church and then beam back out to church. That'd be great. But
we need
to drive.
We need to wrap up. That's a good point. But here's my thought. It is an exciting and may I even say urgent time for the church. We need to get it together, get our plan.
Not only get it together, but get us together.
That's what it means. Yeah, we need to.
I just wanted to make sure
we need to get it together, get the plan out there, and then everybody participate.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
He had a great meeting with Chris Guy tonight.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, great job, Brian.
Your grandson got a visit with Brian tonight.
Pastor Brian went over and got to see him.
Lula is beaming.
Well, she's got a big smile on her face.
Yeah,
he's doing well, and he's scheduled for rehab.
Brian, thank you for doing that. Please, please, it says here, he's doing well, and he is scheduled for rehab.
Yep.
Okay, Brian, please connect with Lula sometime this week and just give her your update. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's very worried about him. So,
Yeah.
and rightfully
I
so.
just hope he goes to rehab, not back out on.
Well, right. And you know what? I think Brian's the right guy to kind of mentor
Right.
him.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that's great.
I asked him today and he did it.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you very much, Brian, for that. Okay. I'm going to close with this thought. It is an absolutely exciting, urgent, important time for Jesus Church to be the church, to be the community of Christ that gets together and gets going on church-centered outreach. This building should be a hub. No, not necessarily. This building should be a hub of evangelism. That's
true.
really what it should be, a hub of evangelism. Now, we come here on Sundays because we need, as Christians, to be together, to be learning from God's word. We need to be strengthened and equipped to do what it is the church does. But the church does what it does Monday through Saturday. Sunday is the gathering for the people to be encouraged and strengthened together. Monday through Saturday is when these things have to be done, because the command is go and get out there to the lanes and the shrubs and grab every beggar that you can and get them back in here to because I'm going to give them feeding. And so the key word there is go. It really is. It's go.
Brian says 100%.
All right. Yes.
I was reading this afternoon before I came to church, and it was about, it's from Our Daily Bread it's a little book about worrying and how this woman overcame it. And she said she learned to put her full dependence. She was a Christian, but she said she wasn't really putting her full dependence on God. And she said she had anxiety really, really bad. And but she overcame it. But she said she learned that it was all right to be weak because, you know, God takes care of everything. And she said, you know, she was saying, and it was really good. I was reading this, you know, but she said we have to learn, and I think that's what I need to learn more, is to put your full dependence on God.
Mm-hmm. You know something, Lula? You're one of the most faithful attenders we have. And that is an incredible blessing, because you're right. Sitting home alone in your house, you can say all you want, oh, I'm going to depend more on God and I'm going to worry less. It's in the community and fellowship of God's people where you're going to be blessed. And the people that aren't coming are missing out. And we got to feel bad about that.
Well, this woman, her and her husband, God led them to go to Europe, and they reached out. They found this guy, he was an addict, and they took him into their home. Then they took more.
Wow.
And she showed them how weak she had been, because she said, people come to you more. They'll come to Jesus if they feel you're weak and not strong. If
Interesting.
you feel you're weak and you have to depend
When you're
on
weak, you're depending on the Lord's strength.
Right.
Right. Good. Excellent. Okay, we got to wrap it up. It's late. Excellent talk. Thank you, Brother Paul, for filling in this morning.
Yep.
Father, thank you so much for your love. Thank you that we could be together tonight. And I pray that the word online will also shake people. We really do need to be more serious at such an urgent time of being the church. We thank you in Jesus' wonderful name.
Amen.
Yeah. Anything you want, Gary?